Hello there, and welcome to another episode of the Play Out Podcast with myself, Scott McLachlan. And this week, again, I'm joined by regular Jamie, and we also welcome back Tim for his second appearance this season. And also, I'm delighted to unveil our latest signing on a free signing for a packet of biscuits, Phil Sandys.
Evening. You got my surname wrong already, Scott. This is not
Sorry,
good.
Sands. I always pronounce it as it's read, mate. That's the problem with having this pre-done script, you see. I'm not thinking. So welcome to your first show, Phil. It's good to have you on at last. And how are we all today?
Yeah, all right.
All right.
Yeah. Good. So Pompey remain in the bottom three of the Championship after two more losses to tough opponents. The latter at Burnley with yet another last-minute goal denying Pompey a very hard 1 point. Despite that, it was good to see returning defenders Tom McIntyre and Regan Poole establish themselves back at the heart of Pompey's defence, especially at Burnley, and showing signs that Pompey can return to the stubborn defence that helped them win League One. Firstly, Pompey paced West Brom at home, and the Baggies were bouncing inside the first minute with a goal from Mayer from a quick throw. And despite Pompey creating a few chances, half-time came with them still behind. West Brom added a second early in the second half and then topped it with a late third. Pompey, in the end, well beaten for the second home game in a row. And then last weekend, Pompey travelled north again to Burnley, and a Lang goal gave them a half-time lead. But Burnley applied too much pressure in the second half, and we succumbed to a 94th minute Brownhill winner after Sarmiento had equalised on the hour. So that's the state of play since the last pod we did. Phil, I'm delighted for you to go first. What did you think of the West Brom defeat to start with, and did we have any positives that may have carried on to the Burnley game?
Well, I thought that Sunderland were the best team we'd watched this season until the West Brom game, and I thought West Brom were pretty decent. Really, they just seemed to be. I don't know. They had a way of playing which everyone knew what their role was. It was no confusion. They played sort of little short passing triangles. They knocked the ball around well. They knew instinctively where players were going to be, and most of what we did just seemed to be, sort of quite hopeful. There was sort of hopeful balls down the channel, hopeful passes into midfield. I don't know. I think it really showed the golfing class between the teams that have come up, or certainly us, and those sort of more established teams. I say like positives. Seeing Regan Poole back in the side was the biggest positive I thought I could sort of take from the game, really.
Yeah, I think.
And it also showed us. I think the biggest one was, I was meant to say to Tim earlier, is the lack of options up front, because for all of his hard work and effort, Sadie's a number 10. He's not a number 9, and I think that's where we were really missing someone to sort of lead the line.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Tim, welcome back. Would you like to
Thank you.
add or detract anything for that?
No, I thought obviously we let a goal in about 55 seconds, didn't we? I think against West Brom.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, but I thought there was quite a few positives to take from the rest of that half. I thought we played pretty decently. It was great to see Tom McIntyre back in, and as Phil said, we obviously saw Regan Poole get his first few minutes under his belt coming on for McIntyre. And obviously that was the first time they started together, was the last game as well. So I think it was a case of coming out in the second half. The stuffing was knocked out of us after about 5 or 6 minutes when we went 2-0 down, and then it was kind of like, we seem to have this pattern at the moment of lots of substitutions, trying different things, trying to integrate the new players into the side and everything, and we were well beaten in the end, really. I just want to say a quick shout out as well. I hope you don't mind me doing this. The person who came with me was not my usual chum who comes to the games, Dave, with me, but Craig, who is actually somebody who's listened to our podcast from Sweden. So a quick shout out to him for that as well. He actually mentioned, I've been listening to this podcast. So yeah, that was Dave's not a normal fellow. It's Craig who came over from Sweden for that. So
thank you, Craig.
Yeah, quick shout to him. I think he kind of enjoyed the experience still of seeing some Championship football, but yeah. And then do you want us to kind of carry on to the next game as well, or we'll just stick with the West Brom game?
We'll cover Burnley in a bit.
Yeah,
Jamie, we did. I mean, it was we were on top that first half, and certainly Mousinho intimated that in his post-match interview. He said that we should have really got a goal or two in that first half.
Yeah, everything but the goal, I guess. I just had a shit time. We're not playing well. We're playing some amazing teams. I think I don't want to repeat what everything is saying, but like Phil said, it's just showing the complete class. We've discussed this before, whether it was a calculated lack of preparation by the club not to get their players in. In July, whether they were expecting to lose all these games anyway. So what's the point in, getting the players in for pre-season? But we are where we are. Just seem to be saying the same things every time now. Yeah, hopefully that win will come. Well, I don't think any of us can make the match this coming Saturday, so chances are we'll get our first win.
Okay, well, I'll be there. And
Okay.
hopefully Phil will be.
No,
I won't be
Phil.
No. Okay, fair enough. I will represent on my own. We will go the Play Up podcast. Me and my son will be there. But from what I've read of Mousinho's or heard of Mousinho's interviews, he doesn't share that well-beaten narrative, and I can understand why. I think Sunderland and West Brom, we were definitely well beaten, even though we had lots of chances in that first half against West Brom and lots of corners, and I think it's definitely agree with you, Phil. We didn't look as if we were. Once we got into the final third, we didn't really have a clue what we were trying to do. We weren't either doing overloads on wide. We weren't trying to get crosses in for a forward because we didn't have one. It was a lot of the off the cuff stuff, and it worked for a while. We applied a lot of pressure. We know how good we can be at Frat Park, but it just seemed, as soon as we didn't score in that first half, West Brom just seemed to sort of step up a gear in the second half. Once they got their second, several minutes into the second half, we were done. We weren't going to come back because we don't really have much option off the bench. We've got a lot of new kids on the bench and a lot of new players, and they haven't had a time to set up those relationships and combinations. So we haven't got a plan B. Plan A doesn't work. We haven't got a plan B at the moment. So hopefully that's not the case later on in the season. I was impressed with McIntyre, though. He seemed to fit in straight away, and then obviously back that up with another good performance against Burnley. No positives from the West Brom game at all. Then I think it's the same situation as we've had before. If games lasted an hour, we would have far more points than we do at the moment. But we can't handle that last 20 minutes of pressure.
Their free kick.
I thought our pressing game was. Sorry, Jamie.
So I was just saying their free kick was lovely. That was that was a positive I took from it. I was able to appreciate that even as a Pompey fan.
I'm glad you stayed to the end, which is brilliant. I got dragged away, but so I didn't see it. But I just think we really struggle in that last 20 minutes, and we've got to sort that out.
I think we played I think I was going to say the sort of pressing game was quite impressive, but I think the amount of effort that goes into that, as you say, with the last 20 minutes, it does kind of leave you a bit knackered. And the players that we brought on were not necessarily the players you'd want to bring on to play in that sort of way. I think their manager alluded to the fact that we gave them a lot of challenges by sort of closing down quickly, being very mobile, and generally running around a lot.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, that doesn't get you goals.
No, but we did nick the ball a couple of times right on the edge of the box, but then didn't seem to capitalise on that, which we've seen other teams do the high pressing. Liverpool especially. I'm not saying we're in their league at all, but it's a similar sort of approach. So we're not gonna say anything positive about the West Brom. Let's move on to Burnley then. This might be a quite short pod. We need to flesh this out a little bit.
I can offer you something, Scott, if you want. I could offer you something on that game. That free kick at the end, I didn't think it was a free kick.
Okay.
I didn't think it should have been given as a free kick. I thought Pack actually it was a good tackle. Might be in a minority on that, and looking at through some blue tinted glasses. But one of the other things I wanted to mention was obviously it was a brilliant free kick from Ben Mowat. Fantastic free kick. Fair play to him for that. But do you remember any previous occasions he played at Fratton Park? Because one jumped out to me, and I was wondering if any of you guys remembered it at all. He was playing for Oxford.
No. If you've got a status, mate, lay it on us.
Well, the one I remember was I think he'd given away a penalty whilst playing for Oxford, and he gave away that penalty while slapping Nathan Thompson in the face.
Really?
That was my memory of him. So I couldn't quite believe he was playing in the Championship and playing so brilliantly after not having really realised where he was for a couple of years. So he's clearly progressed very well.
So I'm sure he's not the only person who probably wants to slap Nathan Thompson in the face, because he was very adept at going down with very little contact, wasn't he?
The Thompson tumble.
The Thompson tumble, and both brothers seem to be very good at it. So yeah. So well, thanks for that.
There you go.
That's all right. That's good. So we'll move on to more recent history in Burnley, and I was surprised. I wasn't surprised he made a change in midfield, but I was surprised it was Potts. I thought he might give Kamara a go from the start, although I think when Kamara came on at West Brom, he looked considerably less comfortable on the ball than he did against Sunderland. So perhaps that made Mousinho's mind up a little bit. But we did have Regan Poole starting alongside McIntyre, which looked positive. And for the first half, they didn't they didn't really trouble us too much. I know Scott Parker said that it was down to them rather than more Pompey, but I thought that first half was very encouraging. Anyone want to say anything? Just jump in.
As you well know, I missed most of the first half, Scott. So I'm not sure what to say there.
That was partly my fault because I didn't tell you that the way that you normally watch your football had expired during the week. Yeah, so I hold my hands up to that. But you got on halfway through the first half, didn't you?
I did. Yeah, about 35 minutes. Yeah, just in time for the goal I got on for. The key thing I noticed though, maybe it's worth discussion. Swanson ahead of Williams. I wasn't expecting that, but I mean, a big Swanson fan. So yes, I was pleased to see it. And I guess I could have brought this up for the other match as well. Josh Murphy, I think that was his first game for us, or first official game. I thought he played well in that game, and he was really good in this one. I think was it Murphy Lang the goal? I think it was. So it's nice to see that we've the newer players are coming in and and adding something. Even most of them apart from Williams who went out. Yeah, what are your thoughts on that then, chaps?
Yeah, I thought Swanson was good as well. I was a little bit surprised that he was in there ahead of Williams. Maybe I shouldn't have been, but I thought he fully justified his place, and possibly the substitution of taking him off didn't really help our cause, along with all the other substitutions that we made as well. But yeah, I think that's McIntyre and Paul's first start together as well. Thought that they looked great. Thought the first half was really, really good, really encouraging. Well chuffed with it, to be honest with you. And obviously on the left side of that defence, you've got Ogilvie, who's coming for quite a bit of criticism for not being a player at this standard yet. And I was so gutted when that ball came back off the post. I really wanted him to get that. I thought that'd been a massive boost for his confidence as well and everything. I do like Ogilvie, and it'd be interesting to see what the Australian lad Farrell does when he comes in, because I don't know anything about him other than what I've read or seen bits of YouTube, which obviously isn't a lot. So I thought the defence was pretty decent. Thought overall it was a really good first half.
I think it's going to be interesting with the battle between sort of Swanson and Williams for that sort of right back spot. I suspect with the way Mousinho lines teams up, I think it's going to be a bit of a horses for courses type thing for him, and I think he'll probably sort of alternate with them depending on who the opposition is. But from what I saw of the game, he looked pretty assured to me.
Purely for stupid reasons alone, I'm looking for the first lineup where our two wing backs are Pharrell Williams.
Will you be happy?
Very good.
I will be happy.
Was that rehearsed?
No. So that's just how my stupid brain works.
You're always good for at least one or two every episode, Jamie. So thanks for that. But that's the thing. We want competition, don't we? We want players like that. I think I read a quote from Mousinho from yesterday saying that. I think what reporters are like. They like to say the obvious. I think someone asked him whether Williams was annoyed he wasn't starting, and Mousinho snapped back and said, "Well, of course I want him to be annoyed. I want him to fight for his place to get back in the team. I don't want him to sit on his haunches and just go, oh well, I'm not going to try anymore." So it's interesting you mentioned Farrell as well, because he does actually exist. Apparently, he has been sighted at the training ground. He didn't, get the slow boat from Australia and take 4 weeks to get here. So competition for places is good. I'm not sure about Potts' debut. I thought he was okay, but I'm not sure how he and Pack were fitting in. It seems to me that I would have thought that in any midfield too, I would have thought Pack would have been the one that would hold more, and the other central midfielder would be the one doing more of the pressing. But from what I've seen so far, it seems as if Pack is the one that's doing the pressing in with the forwards in midfield, and the other person, who whether it be Dazelle or Pot, is the one that holds back. And I'm quite surprised by that, because he has been caught out 2 or 3 times, as we've mentioned before, especially against Sunderland. He got caught out in out of position and chased down a press or a ball, and we got played through too quickly. So I think that midfield partnership is crucial. Do you think we'll see Potts or Kamara cement their places there?
I was surprised to see Paddy Lane in a centre midfield role. I think I said this, joked about this before the season started. We've signed, we've got like 7 left-sided midfielders in the squad now, so I guess he's got to play more. But yeah, so just Paddy playing there ahead of one of our options, or even Lang out on the right. He's usually in the centre. Yeah, so that was a bit of a surprise for me. Yeah.
I do worry a bit about the sort of. We worry a bit sometimes about that sort of centre midfield partnership, because I think it's crucial to have a bit of experience in there. And aside from Pack, we don't really have any players who've played sort of regularly at this level in the centre of the park. And what I worry about when I see Pack playing is that sometimes it's a bit like when Harry Kane plays, that he seems to take it upon himself as the captain to try and do everything and be everywhere. And he's not getting any younger. He's certainly not getting any more mobile. And it would be good to see him play against someone who can play alongside someone who can complement him, but knows how to complement him, not someone who Pack's probably got to sort of almost coach through the game, really.
Yeah, I mentioned this before about his legs, and I would be surprised if he plays 46 games, to be honest. So, not only someone to work with Pack, but we've got to find a pairing that work without him as well. And, the games will run out quick, very, very quickly if we don't start picking up wins. We said this before, what Jamie was intimating earlier is that pure conjecture on my part is I think we looked at the first 7 fixtures and went, well, we're not getting much out of that, are we? And and just basically didn't rush the transfer business until we were sure what we really wanted. So we've got the squad we have now. They've been together a month, so we should start seeing hopefully the fruits of the labours from Sheffield United onwards. But again, Sheffield United on Saturday is a very, very tough game. They're in 6th or something at the moment with 4 wins. So yeah, not to be underestimated. But again, you've got to think at home, if we can apply the same pressure we did against West Brom and actually get a goal or 2, then that gives us something to hold on to. Yeah, the midfield worries me because we don't seem to be getting up to speed quick on that. And Jamie, it was interesting to see Lane playing in that number 10 role. I don't want to slag a player off this early in the season, but Silvera really doesn't thrill me at all. When he came on the second half in Burnley, he spent most of his time falling over. He didn't make a tackle. He didn't make a run. He didn't make a pass. He came on and he had zero effect on the game, and that really annoys me because even if you're brought on as an attacker, you should be able to help your team defend. And I don't think he did anything to benefit the team in that particular instance. And I've seen him be at fault for previous times as well. So I don't think he trusts Silvera yet. Maybe he'll prove everyone wrong and come on and score some wonderful goals and make some assists. But I think, Lane playing in that number 10 role where you would have thought that maybe Sadie, if we've got a forward, is there, or Silvera is there when would be if he was playing well or not, is an interesting. And I think it worked. I think it worked quite well, to be honest. I think you need that. Paddy Lane is probably our most athletic player, and you need that up front, don't you?
But I'd have probably played Sadie there myself, and I'd have given Sorensen a go up front. I mean, he's shown he knows how to poach at least. So, and me personally, Paddy Lane's best position is down that left-hand side, playing as the inside forward. I like him there. He cuts in well, and he got a lot of goals from there last season. So, and he hasn't played there again since for us since last season. So, with doubts surrounding Silvera, who is coming on to replace Murphy, or when Murphy wasn't injured, he was playing there. Perhaps Paddy should be played there again.
I think Silvera definitely has the whiff of Owen Dale about him.
Yeah, it's worrying, isn't it? I mean, there's a reason why Middlesbrough let him go. Middlesbrough are a good side, but I don't think he's anywhere near their first team at the moment. So why should he be anywhere near our first team? But anyway, we obviously needed some bodies in, and he was first in the queue. So, I mean, I don't know whether we can. I think we got a couple of. Did we keep a couple of loans in our pocket for January? So I think we could possibly swap him if we needed to. And bearing in mind how we did, what good business we did last January, maybe we've got some irons in the fire for that as well for a mid-season push. But what's everyone's front four with everyone being fit then? So where would you play them, and who's what positions? You go first, Phil.
Oh, thanks for that. I'd say at the moment the only one who's I would say Murphy definitely has to start. Murphy and Lang both look like championship players, not necessarily top championship players, but they look like championship players. Paddy Lane looks like a really good League One player who's having a real go. in the Championship, but he's not there yet. So you should say Murphy, Lang, and Ritchie. But I'll be honest, I'm not sure why Ritchie's. I'm not sure why we signed Ritchie. I'm really not.
No.
At the time, it was the signing I was most excited about, and I'm not really sure what the point in him is at the moment, to be honest.
Well, silly back heels seems to be the order of the day for him, but we'll probably cover that a bit later.
Yeah, and then obviously Bishop when if fit up front. If not him, then I mean it's difficult to say really. I mean we were talking about before we went on air. We were talking about the lack of minutes of our sort of top strikers. I don't think anyone's looked remotely close to sort of claiming the number 9 role at the moment. I mean, even though Sorensen scored on his debut, he's not he's run around a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'll go along with like Josh Murphy looks like a proper player, doesn't he? I thought he was great in the game against Burnley and everything. He's got to be in there. Lang as well, obviously as well. So I think the other places are up for grabs at the moment, aren't they? I'd be kind of inclined to sort of jump in with you about Silvera. I thought the first time I saw him, he looks like he's quite quick and got some tricks and stuff like that, but there's very little end product off the end of it so far. Hopefully that's a case of sort of settling in and everything. It seemed to be a bit more evident as the games have gone on that it was almost like opposition teams don't seem to be too worried about him having tons of time and space on the ball and everything like that. They're quite happy for him to have it, knowing that he'll bring forward and either kind of go down a dead end or come back and misplace a pass or something. So I'm a bit unconvinced with that. And I don't think we've seen enough of anybody else yet. I mean, I'm hoping that this young lad, is it O'Mahony we've got from Brighton? He's hopefully going to be back from the knock that he picked up on the international duty the other week. It's going to be quite exciting to see him, but we might just have a squad of strikers who look quite promising, but somebody needs to kind of really stake that claim for that place, don't they? So again, Sadie's not necessarily an out-and-out centre forward. I think we all love him for his endeavour and his enthusiasm and his shrugging people off and holding the play up and everything like that. He obviously has got a couple of goals as well, but yeah, I think there's some places to be claimed there at the moment. So hopefully we can start doing that.
All yours, Jamie.
So Murphy and Lang definitely the clear front runners. So I'd have Murphy as my main plane as the backup on the left. I'd play. Callum Lang's arguably the player that's most likely to score for us at the moment. So I'd probably put him in a much more central role. And I'd want to see Matt Ritchie and Harvey Blair fighting for that the right wing spot. Sadie I see as a very much of a Heskey sort of player. Certainly don't mean that derogatory. I thought Heskey was a fantastic player. He was never going to be Michael Owen. So for me, I would be playing big man, little man up. I'd either Lang up in the front middle, but I'd probably have him in the centre with Sorensen. Hopefully, knocking him down. On for him. That's how I'd be lining it up. Yeah.
I think for me, I would. Don't think we're going to see Bishop before next year. So in the immediate future, Yengi up front hasn't proved he can't play at this level, but obviously without minutes he can't. He hasn't proved he can. So he's got a couple of games to see if he can, if he's fit. And with Sadie behind him, and then I'd have Lang on the right at the moment and Murphy on the left. And see how that works. You've got your Sadie power through the middle, and then obviously someone who can actually win a header up front, which I don't think we've had all season. So we'll see how that goes. I think a lot of people question Yengi's ability on the deck when he's not when he's trying to hold the ball up. But I look at a couple of performances last season where he came up against big, strong centre backs, and he did compete really well with them. Bolton at home springs to mind, where he had a terrific battle with the Bolton centre half. Is it Sanchez at the back there for Bolton? Santos, that's it. Yeah, that was like two heavyweight fighters going at it there, Jamie. For most of that match, you could see the sparks coming off them as they hit each other. So that would be my front four at the moment, and hopefully Bishop will come back sooner rather than later. I personally doubted whether he'd be able to do it in the Championship, but hopefully he recovers fully and tries to prove me wrong. So let's have a look at Sheffield United coming up on Saturday. None of you are going, but I'd still like your thoughts on what you'd like to see.
A win.
A win, obviously, yeah. Is that likely though?
No. I mean, we might do. They've drawn a couple, have they? Drawn a couple. They've won the last three, so they've got they're on form there. Yeah, I can imagine our players are pissed off at the moment because I don't think that the score lines, all the results, they're a bit deceiving. Look, a couple of those matches we could have won, the first two, and we're coming back from behind. So I think, I think we've got it in us to beat Sheffield United. But whether we will or not is down to confidence and maybe a little bit of luck on the day.
I think we're seeing in the league that it's a bit cliche that anyone can beat anyone, because there's games that have you look at and you think, wow, on earth did that happen? But it did. I don't see any reason why we can't, other than we need to score 2 goals to win that game. We're not going to win it 1-0. So there you go. Put all your money on 1-0 Pompey.
I wouldn't be unhappy with that at all. But no. I know what you're saying. Tim?
Yeah, I'd love to see us get some points. I mean, we just need to get out of that bottom 3, don't we, and not get cut adrift as the weeks gradually kind of go flying by and everything. I think, again, the sort of fantasy outcome for me would be a 1-0 win. Dazelle gets the winner because he was had the choice, didn't he, between Sheffield United and Pompey, I think. He's sort of got a little bit of stick for being the kind of proven Championship midfield player who hasn't done an awful lot so far and is, not been looking great. So it'd be great for his confidence and for the squad and everything. If we get a win and he'd get on there, probably never going to happen, but that's what I'd love to see happen.
Well, we'll see.
I'm betting on now. I'm going to put a tenner on 1-0 Dazelle.
If that happens,
is that less than 1,000 to 1 odds at the moment?
Probably, yeah,
or more. Yeah, I don't know how many goals Dazelle scored in his career, but I wouldn't be at all surprised if it's single figures. But yeah, maybe like Moxon, he'll pull out a 25, 30-yarder thunderbolt, which goes in the top corner for his highlight reel. But you never know.
I'm going to stick up for Dazelle because I don't mind him, to be honest. I think he's quite neat and tidy.
Please do. No, tell us more. I don't think anyone's really been too hard on him. It's just not been impressed.
I don't think that's not
unimpressed. Yeah, well, Reece said that on the last pod. Reece, who sits the other side of the Fratton into you, he said he had some absolute muppets that were laying into the team during the Sunderland game after the first goal went in. So, yeah, what are your muppets at your end saying?
Yeah, pretty much the same. I think there's always going to be a player that's going to be automatically made the scapegoat, and I think because he's not an exciting player, but he's a tidy player. He doesn't, apart from that time when he got caught in possession of it, doesn't really give the ball away too much. Neat and tidy passes, and just keeps play going. He seems like quite an intelligent player, but he's a you could argue he's a little bit lightweight. But I don't think he's looked any worse than anyone else in the role alongside Pack.
No, but we've chopped and changed a little bit. And that chimes with what you said earlier about having that midfield too is so critical to the way we play, especially when coming out from defence, because obviously we don't lump it 50, 60 yards because we haven't got anyone who's going to win the ball anyway. So we try and play it out from the back or give Norris an opportunity to hopefully ping a pass to one of our wingers. But yeah, the team seems unfinished, and that's probably the best way I could describe it. It's terrible that we've got most of the way through September, and we've got a team that isn't ready for the Championship yet. But you've got to think that changes. You've got to hope that changes quite quickly as well, because October gives us opportunities to win games home and away. And if the team still don't achieve that, that's because the preparation that they've had and the late coming together has really, hold us below the water. So I'm hoping we get a win on Sheffield United. That will calm everyone down, give everyone's nerves a bit of a rest, and we can look forward to a productive October.
So amusingly, Tommy Lowry is alleged by the bookies to be more likely to score than Dazelle.
Brilliant.
Yeah, I can get 22-1 for Tom.
Brilliant.
Andre's 28-1. Yeah.
Yeah, awesome. Well, I mean, again, you pulled one out the fire there, Jamie. Thanks for that.
Just go back to that midfield partnership.
Sorry.
Yeah, go on.
I got to.
I was going to say we've got other midfielders there. You mentioned Moxon as well, but I thought Potts was decent on his debut. Again, without being particularly spectacular or anything. But we've got who else am I thinking of? Devlin as well, who hasn't been around the match day squad for the last couple of days. So, but apparently, from again, not that I saw any of it, but got a few quite decent reviews from his under-21s performance a week or two ago. So I mean, he's there as well to potentially come in and. So yeah, there's midfield options, and obviously with Kamara we've mentioned as well, looked all right in one game, not so good in the other. So I think there's a whole team in there that don't quite know exactly who to play exactly where yet. So there's a lot of faith in Mousinho to get this right, I think.
So going back to your attacking, who's going to be the attacking four, Scott? With let's just say the nightmare happens and Marlon tweaks something on Saturday morning and can't play. Who's your central midfield partnership against Sheffield United with no Marlon in the side? Let's hope it doesn't come to that. Obviously,
no. Well, yeah, God, that'll ruin everyone's day, won't it? Well, I mean, Dazelle, he's the one who's had the most minutes, so he's going to be the one with the experience, even though he's played 3.5 games or 4 games now. And I don't know, it'd be interesting to see Kamara for 75 minutes from the start. I thought, everyone was quite impressed with his work against Sunderland, but then Sunderland had won the game, so they were sitting back anyway. So yeah, it's surprising about Moxon, isn't it? Because he was partnering pack for most of last season once he was bought, and put in some pretty good performances, but he just seems to have been dropped down the pecking order for the new arrivals, Dazelle especially. So don't know what's happening with him. But yeah, to be honest, Phil, the team picks itself at the moment. You haven't got that competition for places, so you haven't got the choices. If one or two players are out, it's obvious, I think, who the next person is. What I'd like to see is a more settled defence as well, and hopefully we've got McIntyre and. I mean, do you think he'll drop McIntyre if Shotnessy's fit? Because I think his preferred is Paul. It's got to be, isn't it?
I don't know, but Paul was class on. I thought on Saturday, so it was really good to see him back, and I think that he proved that he's probably our strongest defender, his strongest option. So I think. I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong, here, lads. Keep me honest. Shaughnessy, wasn't he supposed to originally be cover for Paul, and Mousinho wanted a left-sided midfielder, defender, which would probably favour Mac. Am I saying? Yeah.
McIntyre. It could be right. Yeah, could be right. But Shaughnessy ended up being the main man last year. Not only being an awesome defender, but scoring great goals. So, if he's fit, he's the first name on the team sheet. I'm just wondering who drops out for him. Is it going to be Paul or is it for McIntyre?
Do you think it's a formation change?
Yeah, no, I think he's going to stick with McIntyre and Paul. I think that's his mind. That's what he would much prefer as one left-sided player, one right-sided defender. And so I think, regardless of whether Shaughnessy deserves to be there or not, he might find that he gets pushed out.
Interesting. Well, we'll have to see, won't we? Right, I wanted to do something a bit of fun at the end of this podcast. So I've devised a silly little game to test your knowledge of the season of Pompey season when you were 21. So Phil, you're going to go first. What I've done is I've got the amazing Pompey-Rama website open, and your season is 92-93 because your 21st birthday was in 1992. So what I want to do is to give you. Can you give me a month and a number between 1 and 5, and I will pick that match in that season?
I'll go with April.
April, and a number
between 1 and
5.
5.
Hold on, now I've got to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Notts County away on the 17th of April.
Remember it very clearly.
Yeah, I'm sure we all do. So what I want you to do is I want you to name 3 of the team, but I'm going to discount the 5 players who played the most that season.
Oh.
Okay, so I'll tell you the 5 players, and this is what Tim and Jamie have to do. I'll tell you the 5 players that you can't name, and you can see if you can name 3 players that played in that team that won 1-0 away at Notts County on the 17th of April 1993. So the players you can't have are Knight, Walsh, Whittingham, Orford, and McLaughlin. So can you name?
Well, that's me done then.
Any players? Any players? There's a player in there you've met personally.
Kit Simons.
There you go. There's one. So that might give you a clue as to a couple of others.
I'm trying to remember whether Beresford stayed after Beresford.
Not Beresford, but there was someone else. There was someone else at left back. So it's quite a monumental season, that one, isn't it? That's the one where we missed out on promotion by 1 goal scored. So there was, and we went on that amazing run in the second half of the season. I think we won 12 or 13 games in a row, or something ridiculous. So who played at left back?
Who played at left back? It wasn't Ray Daniel, was it?
No, definitely not. It was Ray Daniel. Well done. See if you can get one more.
Anderson.
No, Anderson, I think, had left to Spurs by then.
This is terrible. I should be doing better than this.
The trouble is,
could you not have done the previous season? I could tell you plenty about.
Well, I think a lot of the players played in that season as well. I don't think we changed that many. I'll put you out.
Mark Chamberlain.
Yes, 3 points. Well done. So that team was Knight, Orford, Butters, McLaughlin, Aspinall, Simons, Daniel, Neil, Warren Neal, Mark Chamberlain, Paul Walsh, Guy Whittingham, George Lawrence, and Bjorn or Benny
Christensen. Benny Christensen.
He scored in one of the playoff semi-finals, didn't he?
I think. He did. Well, we only played 2, unfortunately.
Yeah. The one we got 1 goal in.
Yeah. No. He scored the 2-2 away at Leicester, didn't he?
2-2, yeah.
Yeah. I think it was him and McLaughlin scored.
Cracking free kick against Newcastle as well, I seem to remember. Was it Benny got that? I think so.
Yeah, I think so, yeah. Well, I mean, like I said, it was a terrific season. We're absolutely, gutted to lose by that 1 goal scored. And it was all Swindon's fault because I think they played West Ham and collapsed, and West Ham scored a ton of goals against them, and that put them ahead of us.
Pretty sure Sunderland helped beating us 4-1 as well.
Yes.
We did have it on our own hands at that point.
We did, yeah. And Walshy got himself sent off. So anyway, yes, ups and downs of the season. So well done. So Tim, you can go next, I think. Brilliant. Yours was 97, wasn't it? Bear with me. I've got
I just love how you've got the guy who Googles for a living to go last. I'd just like to say thanks for that.
Yeah, but remembering this off the top of my you can see I'm on camera here. I have not been Googling. I've not got my hand or anything.
Put your hands where I can see them.
They're here. I haven't touched Google at all.
So 97-98 season. Oh, hang on, 97-98 season. Okay, there were 6 games in August.
I'll have the 4th one then.
The 4th one is Sheffield United away. So the players you're not allowed to mention are Orford, Aloisi, Pethick, Thompson, and Whitbread, and those 5 are the ones who won the most appearances that season. So they're the ones that are going to be most obvious. That's the way I'm doing it. So you've got Sheffield United 2, Pompey 1 on the 23rd of August 1997. So you're not allowed to mention, as I said, Orford, Bradbury. Orford, Aloisi, Pethick, Thompson, and Whitbread.
You might have just given you one there, mate.
Wow. I think Lee Bradbury might have been in the team around that time. Was Alan Knight one of them at the time?
Wrong.
Was Alan Knight there at the time, though, did you say?
Knight did play a few times that season, but wasn't in this game.
Okay. Was that Flahaven around that time?
Flahaven, yeah, he was our number 1.
Who was on the bench for that game then?
Did we not have keeper start that game?
It doesn't tell me. I think you're only allowed to have 1 or 2 subs, weren't you?
We only had 2 keepers back then, didn't we?
Yeah. That might have been the era of... I know Pettersson was a little bit later.
Gosney, maybe?
No, he'd gone by that.
Possibly. So you got Flahaven.
John Durnin. Was John Durnin around at that point?
No, John Durnin. No, sorry.
Was that the era of the Aussies and stuff like that? So
could have been.
Because you did mention Aloisi there. So would that have been Craig Foster or someone like that around?
He may have been in the building, but he didn't play in this game.
Not in that particular game.
No.
And what was that other? fella, Hamilton Thorpe. I think he played about once for us, but I don't think it was
Hamilton
in that game.
Thorpe came on as a sub. 2 points to you.
Wow.
I think that might have been his only sub appearance.
Yeah, that might have been the only time he ever played for us. Yeah, I'm just remembering Aussies now that played for us. That was when we had Venables, wasn't it, here, and who was bringing over the Australian lads.
Yeah, so you got Flahaven and Thorpe.
How about Andy Turner?
Yes. How did you remember Andy Turner? He was another sub that came on in that game. Well done, 3 points. So the team that day was Flahaven, Perrett, Thompson, Ethic, Whitbread, Hillier, Hall, Russell, Aloisi, Matthias Svensson.
Oh yeah,
the
Hamilton
striking
Thorpe.
Viking.
Absolutely. I think he must have been injured for part of that season because he only made 20 appearances. Yeah, I think didn't he fall on his neck and was out for a couple of months or something? But anyway, Hamilton Thorpe, Sammy Igo, and Andy Turner. You start him. Well done. No pressure, Jamie, and also no googling.
What?
So you're the season before. Season before. So you're 96, 97. Let's have a look. So same again for you. Month and a number, please.
What's the date today? September. What's the number for?
So I could get the match in that month.
3.
Swindon Town away on the 11th of September 1996. Okay, so you're not allowed to say. You already know one of them because I said it earlier. So Orford, Bradbury, Hall, Igo, and Simpson were our leading appearances that season. So who else can you mention?
Did you say Hall?
I did, yeah. You're not allowed to say Hall.
So I'm allowed to say Dion Burton then?
You are. Well done. 1
Reggae
point.
Boys, yeah.
The Reggae Boys, yeah. 1 point.
You said Perrett and Pethick. Did you say over all those?
I said, Pethick, not Perrett. Was it Perrett in?
Okay, yeah.
No Perrett, I'm afraid, no.
Johnny Durnin.
This is to be honest, I think you've got the slightly tougher one because I think the 5 most obvious ones are probably hampering you more than anything else.
McLaughlin. Or did you say him?
Yeah, McLaughlin. Yep. He wasn't. I think we'd sold, didn't we? I don't know if he might have been injured or something. So Alan McLaughlin, we've got Dion Burton, one more to match everyone else.
Did we have Martin Allen back then?
I'm trying to remember the old Championship manager from
that
era.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to do. Yeah.
No, Hillier was the season later, but
Whitbread, Adrian Whitbread.
No.
Oh, Bradbury.
No, you weren't allowed to say Bradbury.
Fitzroy Simpson.
Yes, Fitzroy Simpson. Well done. Yeah. So that's the team that day, which lost. Well, no, sorry, 1-0 away at Swindon Town on a Wednesday night. It was Flahaven, Pethick, Russell, McLaughlin, Dobson, Orford, Jimmy Carter, Fitzroy Simpson, Sammy Igo, Dion Burton, Lee Bradley, Paul Hall, and again Andy Turner on the left wing. So, thank you for playing that. That was a little bit of fun. I don't know whether we'll do it again, but I might try and come up with something a bit different next time. So thank you for joining us again, guys. I hope you enjoyed it, Phil, your first one, and I hope we get you back again soon. And hopefully we'll have a bit more positive stuff to say about Pompey in the next couple of weeks. But what's your predictions for Saturday then? Give us some scores. I know you've gone 1-0 already, Jamie, but
I've done it. I've put £2 on, and I've got 100 to 1. So if I win, I'll buy Phil and Tim a pint.
You said a tenner. You said
I did say a tenner, and then I thought, don't be a fucking idiot, and I put £2 on.
Tim, Phil?
1-1.
1-1, okay.
I'm going to go for a hopeful 2-1 win.
Yeah, I'll go for 2-1 as well because I don't think we can keep a clean sheet. So we'll, as you say, Phil, we've got to outscore them. We'll score more goals than you and hopefully win. Thanks very much, gents, to Phil, Tim, and Jamie. This has been the Play Up podcast. We'll be back again in a couple of weeks. I've got another fan interview or prominent Pompey person interview, hopefully in a couple of weeks as well. Time. I won't spoil the surprise, but it's someone who's closely involved and very heavily involved with the club and various bits and pieces. So it should be a very, very, very good interview. So thank you very much for listening. We'll see you again in a couple of weeks. Bye.